and I'm glad that you're in that space. You got to share with us, of course, what made you be inspired to to continue in finding that path. What inspired you? What inspires you every day?
Yeah. Um, well, I have to go back to the time in my life after college when I was really sick. So
Mm-hmm.
the I had pain that started my elbows, my feet, my knees, and my hands. And I went to doctors. They told me it was fibromyalgia. And then they told me it was in my head. It was just such a hard time in my life. I went from, healthy, functioning
Wow.
20 something year old to the doctors telling me at 23 years old, like, you are going to be in this excruciating pain the rest of your life. I could
Wow.
barely walk. I could barely function. I had brain fog. There was so much going on for me. Um, I lived with my parents at the time. I couldn't work. We moved my mattress to the first floor. I couldn't lift things. It was just such a hard time. And in that time, I really had to go inward, and I really had to think about what was my why. It was like
Wow.
every morning, like I could have just slept all day just because it was so hard to just live every moment. But I just believed that it was possible for me to heal. And from that place, my biggest motivation was every morning I'd get in the shower, kind of loosen up my muscles a little bit. It would help me to feel a little bit better. And I would just think about all of the people I would help one day. And like, that was my inspiration. That was what got
Wow.
me out of bed every morning. And now that I'm in this place where I'm helping amazing, high achieving women that inspire me, they get me out of bed. And I would say the other part that gets me out of bed is now thinking about my family and the children I'm going to have one day, and just my relationship with my husband, and the possibilities of being a business owner and being able to like help these incredible individuals in my business, and also create this life, continue like always designing my life and thinking about being able to be someone like a working mom who also has so much time for her kids, and they like know that she adores them and they're valuable, and like they come before work. I just, that lights me up, that opportunity to be able to have that impact and to spend time with my family.
So we just got to jump right into like finding out. I mean, you mentioned productivity, because to get all of that, you have to be able to be very productive, very organized, very disciplined, and you can get a lot of these things, into play. What would be some tips for productivity that you would share with the audience that they can start right away and really, really add value to their life of gaining more time per se, right? We can't really gain more time, but having more time for their families and for whatever else that they have to do.
Yeah, there's so many things that I could say, but if there's one thing that I would start off with, it would be mindset. Um, because there are so many productivity tools out there, right? Especially with all the apps that we have.
Yeah,
Um,
there's an app
but
for
that
it.
doesn't mean that you're going to be productive. So like really getting
Mm,
into what's going in my thoughts. What's my relationship with time? What's my relationship with money? What's even my relationship with productivity or success? Asking those questions, getting some support, whether it's hiring a coach, or maybe you want a therapist, or maybe there's another goal that you're trying to achieve. You want a personal trainer, right? Whatever support you need, just making sure that you're getting it. Um, but like starting with the mindset piece first. Um, then another thing I see with my high achieving women is one of the reasons they have so many things on their plate is not just because they love their ideas, but because they're not spending enough time with themselves. They like aren't
Yeah.
validating themselves, so they're looking to get all these achievements to get external validation. So my second piece of advice would be to slow down, to spend time with yourself, to spend time with your family, to take breaks, to go on vacations. Like,
Yeah.
that is going to be your powerhouse.
Yes. And like you say, slow down just so you can breathe.
Right.
Just take a deep. Like, we should just take a deep, fresh of air, deep fresh air right now. So let's just take a deep breath, right? Sometimes we don't even have time to do that. Taking in some fresh air because we're
Yes.
busy, our mind is running, we're all over the place. It's important to just stop and take a breather. So you're right. That is a great tip, especially when it comes to productivity. What would you share when it comes to like some tips for creativity?
Yeah. Well, I think a huge part is creating spaciousness. So this goes along with your schedule of what are the things that you need some more support on, so you're going to delegate, right? So you're not doing it yourself all the
Yeah.
time. You're figuring out what are my strengths and you're owning them, and then you're finding other people around you that have strengths that you might even like be able to do a good job at it, but you're just choosing, I'm delegating this so I can have enough space for myself to thrive. So when you create that space, whether it's in your home, like creating organization so that you can actually feel like your creativity can thrive, or it's in your email inbox or in your mind, your thoughts, whatever it looks like, your schedule, just creating that space so that you actually have room to express yourself.
That's so important. It's like, I tell, a lot of us are going to the buffet of success, but then it's full of bones, right? You have to clear the plate and be able to receive more blessings, right? You got to clear that plate. So that's so important to declutter, remove a lot of things. But I'm hearing already, I'm listening to the audience, and I'm hearing the audience saying, well, wait a minute, I have 3 kids, I have 5 kids, I have an infant, I'm a mom, I have, I don't have the time. Would you say to someone when it comes to time?
Yeah. So again, like I'd say, go back to what is your relationship with time. If you're telling yourself, I don't have time all the time, I'm going to guarantee that that's going to show up in your life as you don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
However, the other part is like there is compassion, right? We have different seasons in our life where sometimes there are circumstances that it just feels like it's hard to get a breath. And so I always recommend baby steps. So
Yeah.
if you have young kids and you can't even get into the bathroom without them following you in, all I want you to do is take 3 deep breaths at least 3 times a day. Like that is something
and
that I'm
just
sure every
start.
woman
Yeah,
could do,
just
right?
start it. Yeah,
You
yes. And
start
start
there.
somewhere. Yeah.
And then you layer like that, because it's going to grow your capacity every time you take a baby step. And then once you're like, I got this and it feels good, then you add something else. And then
Yes.
like all of a sudden you've up leveled your life and you're like, oh wow, I just freed up 10 hours from my schedule from this consistently just taking care of myself. And as far as
Mm-hmm.
consistency goes, there's also a lot of women out there in your audience who probably are like, I have so much trouble with consistency. I don't care if you breathed on Monday, forgot Tuesday through Thursday, and then you breathed again on Friday. The thing is, you're just practicing. You're practicing those baby steps, changing the word from consistency to practice. I think I find this changes so much. Practice is just like it feel you can have fun with it. It doesn't feel so serious. It's not like,
Yeah.
oh, I fell off the bandwagon, like I'm a failure, I have to get back on, or let me just watch it go and I'm never going to do it. It's like, I can do this. I'm just taking one step after another. If I go
I love it.
backwards 5 steps, that's okay. I'm just
Small
practicing.
steps. Yeah, just taking small steps to get
Yeah.
to the next step. But really,
Mhm.
achieving sometimes starts with small successes, right? It's a small success. It's like, I did that, and let me add to that. So yes, that could really make a big difference. And you're right. By the time that a person looks back and says, 3 months into it, they'll realize how far they've come. So that's very important. Anything that you would, if you had to say to a person who is saying that they have issues, not only with, let's say, time, but they may say, well, you know what, I want to have someone help me, but it costs. I want to delegate, but it costs. I would have to get a person to help support me, but I can't find a person to support me, or I can't afford someone to support me. What
Yeah.
are some tips to help them with an extra hand, per se, right? Especially if someone's super busy.
Absolutely. Well, again, you start small here. So, like, if you really literally have no one you can reach out to, then I would say just practicing gratitude and opening up your hands to receive. Just saying, like, there is someone out there. Just opening yourself up to the possibility there's someone out there who can help me, and I'm just opening up my hands to receive. And like, here's all the ways that I'm grateful in my life.
Yeah.
And I really believe that like people are going to come to you. It hopefully it won't be a long time, but there have been times in my life where I have prayed for someone and it took 10 years. However, just even that practice of gratitude and an
Mm-hmm.
openness to receive, I really believe brings blessing into your life that you might not expect.
Out of nowhere, I guess. So yeah, being grateful places you in a position, of course, that's very attractive, isn't it, to see that someone, instead of being bitter, oh my God, of complaining or frustration, that type of energy, being grateful, I can see where that can just really help you find in a space where whatever you are, you never know who may show up and say, hey, let me just help you. I see that your hand is pretty tied up. Or if we don't know, like you said, just staying in a space of positivity, staying inspired to know that things can change, things will change. And if not, without hope, right, we might as well just give up, right?
Mm-hmm.